Right, cask ale. I'm going to talk about cask ale, and I'm going to talk about how we prepare cask ale to serve. And we need to understand what's happening inside cask ale in order for us to make sure we prepare it properly. So what I've done here is I've set up a diagram, which hopefully you'll be able to see here, zooming in. And this is the preparation for cask ale. So we have the delivery, and then we'll have two avenues which we need to understand. If on your delivery day we are dealing with the cask within 3 to 5 hours, it's very simple, we can just vent it. However, if the cask is sat for more than 3 hours, we need to, it's not a problem, but we just need to do something slightly different. So we need to roll it first and then vent it, and then once we've vented it, then we need to understand what the conditioning is. Then we can hold it for a long period of time, 10 days. Then we can tap and hold it just nearer the time to when we're going to serve it. So that may well often be day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, doesn't really matter, but you can have a maximum of 10 days. But we can tap it, I insert the extractor rod or the widget, which I'll show in a moment, or indeed the tap. Then we'll then dispense it. But once we start dispensing it, we need to get rid of it within the standard 3 to 3.5 days. Now it's important to remember that when the beer goes into a cask, right, it is unfiltered and unpasteurized. So there's still yeast inside the liquid that is now in the cask. It's obviously sealed with the keystone and the shive, so it then effectively becomes a pressurized vessel. Now it's important to remember that when the beer goes from the brewery to and through the distribution system to your pub, that the chances are the beer is likely to go through a secondary fermentation. So what is fermentation? Well, fermentation is where the yeast become active again. But the real issue is the fact that now quite a huge amount of CO2 is now being produced, but it's inside a sealed container. So what happens, very much like the keg we talk about, which is the temperature and pressure relationship, now we have a massive increase of pressure. So what actually happens is the CO2 is forced into the liquid, so effectively it becomes fizzy. Now, depending on how big a secondary fermentation will depend on the reaction in your cellar. So you can see there could well be quite a lot of carbon dioxide now forced into the beer. So when it is delivered to your pub, we now need to think and understand what's going on inside the container. So in addition to all the CO2, you're all well aware that actually cask ale, because it's unfiltered and unpasteurized, there is also quite a lot of sediment inside there as well. But it's important also to remember that when inside the brewery, the brewers will also put in some form of clearing agent, either finings or isinglass. What these are little platelets that actually will sit inside the liquid, but over a period of time will gradually sink down to the bottom. Okay, so what happens is you'll stir them up, they're bounced around all the way through the distribution, it gets into your cellar, but the same thing happens again. My first question to you guys is, how long does it take these finings, these little platelets, isinglass finings, to drop down to the bottom of the cask? Now you'll get a variety of answers, but actually you may well be surprised that it will take between 6 and 8 hours. So if you come along and having left it for more than, as I've got on my chart here, 3 hours, we will need to roll it first. Now hopefully that all makes sense, but I'm just going to go through it fairly slowly, step by step now.